guys, Brad Loeffler here, COO of Zendrop. There has been a lot going on in the news lately about tariffs that Trump has been imparting on China and other countries. So we're here to answer your questions, make sure that you have some peace of mind about what's going on, because we've been getting a lot of questions from our users and from our community about what's going on, and we just want to make sure that we set the record straight with as much information that we have available. So I've got Elliot here from our content team. He's been fielding a lot of the questions from our community, and he's going to ask me some questions on behalf of the community so that we can go ahead and make sure that you guys have all the information that is currently available about the tariffs.
Okay, so I got a whole list of questions here ready to ask you from our community. And just before I go down this list of questions, could you just tell me just a brief overview of I'm confused. So just tell me what's going on with the tariffs and just a general overview.
For sure. So first of all, there's always been tariffs when you're importing goods from China. And depending on the type of product, you'll pay a tariff to import those goods to the US. There's always been an exemption to the typical tariffs when you're drop shipping. If you're shipping stuff on a cargo ship or a cargo boat and you're importing it into the US, you have to pay a certain percentage of what the goods cost in basically a fee or a tax to the US government to import those products. But there's always been what's called de minimis exemption, which means for any order or shipment valued under $800, which is every single order that Zendrop ships to dropship customers, has been exempt from those tariffs. Now, there's been some changes that no longer uphold those exemptions, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Okay, so that's a great general overview of all the tariffs. And what changed in the last week?
Yeah, so a lot has changed and is still changing. I mean, as we record this, we just got another update about new tariffs being imposed, but essentially it breaks down into two different categories. Category number one is for products that are being imported on boats, which 99% of people that are watching this video probably don't have to worry about. If you're drop shipping orders, that means we are shipping them by plane and not by boat. But the first category of tariffs are for cargo boats and shipments valued at more than $800. Those are being taxed, like I explained before, like they've always been taxed, but they are being taxed at a much higher rate. And Trump the last few days has continued to increase the amount of tax on those imports.
But that doesn't affect dropshippers.
No, it affects brands. So brands that are importing cargo ships of products and containers of products to the US to use in our US 3PL warehouse, it's affecting those people. Dropshippers are affected by de minimis exemption, which I just explained in the previous segment, being removed. So what happened is Trump essentially removed the de minimis exemption, which means that now even packages valued under $800, which is all the shipped orders, are now being taxed also. So there's going to be a tariff, a percentage of the total, and they're also claiming that there's going to be a $25 minimum fee. Now I'll get into all the details of that in a moment, but what you need to know is that none of this, as of right now, we're filming this on Tuesday, April 8th at 3 p.m. As of right now, none of this is going to affect until May 2nd specifically for the products valued under $800, the drop shipped products. So there's a couple really important things to understand. The first is that the tariff that's always existed that now Trump has increased is a percentage of the product cost to import to the US. So for example, let's say you're selling this coffee mug and you're importing 10,000 of them to the US. The product cost is only $5, but to ship it to the US and then to ship it from our 3PL to the customer, all in, the shipping costs you $15. Just an example, right? So normally you'd pay $20 to get your product to your customer. $5 for the product cost and $15 all in for shipping from China to your end customer. The $20 is not being taxed. It's the $5 that's being taxed. So typically it was, somewhere between a 20, 30, 40, 50% tariff even on some goods before Trump raised the tariffs. Now there's going to be an additional, the latest we just heard was 104% tariff. That's only on the product cost. So you're not going from $20 to $40. You're going from $20 to about $25. So that's the first thing that I want to explain. People are hearing 104% and freaking out. And yes, that's much more than it used to be, but it's not on the entire cost of goods that you have to fulfill that order to your customer. That's for people importing stuff, people that have brands and are shipping stuff in bulk to the US and using our US 3PL warehouse. 99% of people that are listening to this are probably still dropshipping. So what it means for them is there's going to be a fee now in general. There wasn't a fee before at all to import things that were valued under $800 to ship it into the US. The two fees that they announced were either percentage, and that keeps changing, or $25 minimum fee to import a single order valued under $800 into the US. Obviously, that wouldn't work for dropshippers. We're actively working on solutions right now and trying to come up with ways where we can actually spread that cost out. So if it's $25, maybe we spread that $25 out between 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different orders. And so we can basically take that $25 and spread it out between all of those shipments and create a much smaller net effect across each individual order. So there's a few different possible solutions we're working on right now, but that's the solution that we have right now that we're working on, is to try to spread that cost out over as many orders as we can, because we know that that's not sustainable for dropshippers. Obviously, here at Zendrop, our success is your success and our users' success. We're working on a solution to it. Obviously we're doing this all within the law and we're making sure that we're compliant, but we are going to make sure that we figure out a solution so that our users don't run into an issue where they can't ship products to the US anymore.
This is actually a perfect follow-up question for that. Why should people trust Zendrop to help them with their fulfillment?
Zendrop has been doing this for almost 10 years, and this is not the first time something like this has happened. And we've gone through the ups and downs of COVID and all that madness. When commercial airlines were shut down, we had to figure out another way to ship items, and we were actually one of the only solutions possible back then, because a lot of other people weren't savvy enough to find the solutions that Zendrop had found during that time. So we have the consumers back and we have our users back, and we're doing everything that we can to drive that cost down as much as possible. Like I said, these costs are new to everyone. Yeah, it's not like we haven't dealt with challenges like this before, and ultimately our success is your success. Our success here at Zendrop is the success of all of our users, combined. So we're doing everything that we can to help our users as much as possible be able to sell as much as they can.